Welcome to Married with Gaming Media Review.
Hi, welcome back to Married with Gaming.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jen. And today we're going to do a spoiler-free review of the Netflix series, GyeongSeong Creature, which we just finished watching. I chose that for us to watch this time because I'm a huge fan of like monster movie type things. And I saw the trailer for it and thought, ooh, this looks fun. I want to watch it. So it's 10 episodes, about an hour each. And we did watch the English dub version. Usually prefer to read the subtitles, but we watched.
Yeah, I don't like to read movies.
We watched the dub version. It stars Park Seo-joon as the main character, Tae-sung, and Han So-hee as the other lead, the female lead, Che-ok, right? So, I thought we'd just kind of talk about our impressions of it, and we're going to try our best not to give any spoilers. So first, we thought we would talk about production. What did you think about production?
I wasn't involved in producing this. No. You mean just how well it was put together?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty decent. Most of the effects were good. Some of the CGI wasn't like... It's not like super older Marvel stuff, where like Thanos, it's like... Looks like a real thing. It kind of... it's a fake thing.
Well, yeah.
And but it wasn't... It served the purpose. It wasn't bad. I mean,
yeah.
There's modern movies that cost $500,000 or not $500,000, $500 million. They have worse CGI.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it looked pretty good.
And when the monster, when it moves around through the hall, I've noticed you can see the shadow and lighting. They actually pay attention to that and rifle flashes when it got shot at. So.
I thought the production was really good. I thought the special effects were great. The makeup, I was really impressed with the makeup for the actors. I thought it was really, really good. And I thought the set design was really neat too. The series is set in 1945, GyeongSeong, which is modern day Seoul, from what I understand. So it is during the Japanese occupation of Korea. So that's the historical time. So they tried to recreate clothing and sets and everything to look very authentic to the time. And I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, obviously I wasn't in Seoul in 1945, but it certainly looked like it fit.
Neither was I. But it looked like it fit the time period.
Acting. What did you think about the acting?
I thought it was fine, even though it was dubbed, so it wasn't their original voices, which takes something out of it. Honestly, it does. But the I would say the people's expressions and how they emote and do things, to me, that conveyed enough, even with the English voices.
The acting was really, really good, but from both of the leads, but also from the supporting cast. Like the supporting cast, I think really did a nice job of pulling you in, and you were curious about their stories and why they were who they were with or where they were. And I thought that was really compelling, especially some of the soul.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Especially some of the soul secondary characters. But even some of the Japanese characters were compelling, the supporting cast. I thought they did a really good job with acting. Okay, and the big one, storyline, plot, without spoilers.
I like the way the storyline kind of parallels the Japanese occupation, and without, spoilers from history. They weren't always. I mean, they're all human, but and that shows through because there was good and bad on both. Mm-hmm. But it also shows through through the occupation how they exploited the people there. Mm-hmm. They treated them, not so well, mm-hmm. and kind of. But there also was a balance because you gotta have the cooperation of the people that you're occupying in a way to enable to enact that power over them. So there was kind of a balance there, and they kind of showed that. But yeah, it really showed how, like the occupying forces treated them, and with, the theme of the movie, which it's not a spoiler at all. It's where the Japanese, much like other people during that time period, treated and experimented on the people that they occupied and tortured, and then this probably the doing this of the monster is kind of a allegory to treating the people poorly and how they responded to it, because I think on some levels of the show some people changed and became monsters, not just the monster.
Yeah, well, and then some people became. I mean, the kid there were a lot of character arcs, which I appreciated. There was a hero's journey. There was character development, not just in the main character or characters, but in some of the side characters as well. There was character development where they really were changing fundamentally.
Every character and every background to it showed how the conflict affected them and how it changed them.
Right.
And then it showed how they decided to become a different person because of it, better or worse. And some people, some of the human characters, like I said, it's like an allegory. They became monsters. And some of the people that kind of could have been monsters or more selfish or bad, they became better people.
Yeah, and I also, like kind of we said earlier, I liked how it's a Korean show, so you would expect to have some sympathy for the Korean people in the story, but I liked that not all of the Japanese were bad, that there were people that were humane on the Japanese side as well. And then I thought it was interesting. I liked it kind of was a mesh of historical drama or historical fiction, science fiction / horror, and romance, which I thought was kind of an interesting mix. But it was very much in what I would say is the Korean style of romance that was mixed in instead of the Western style. So
yeah, the love drama part was like, it wasn't like how a regular action movie that would be Western or whatever you want to unveil. It came out as kind of soap opera-y.
Well, kind of, but I don't think soap opera-y, because those are kind of over the top. Where Korean romances are a little bit more. They know how to use pauses and dramatic pausing and music and extended scenes to kind of convey more emotion, and so they mixed that in to the story, which we'll talk about pacing in a minute. But but I think it was interesting, and for me, who I've watched K-dramas, K-historical dramas, sci-fi stuff, and K-romances, and I really liked it. I really liked that inclusion in the story itself. I would say overall, it was not. It did use a lot of sci-fi tropes and horror tropes, so it was not terribly unpredictable, but it wasn't so predictable that you were just like, yeah, we know, let's move on. I thought it was a good balance.
The people's personal story and motivation, those were the only thing that became unpredictable. Everything else was pretty, it wasn't super surprising.
Right. But it wasn't so predictable that it was boring. Like, even though you knew, okay, well, this is probably coming, but I still want to watch it. So
yeah, there's a few twists.
And it wasn't so unpredictable that you were like lost in what was happening either, which sometimes some shows get so unpredictable that you're just like, it's just too much work for me to watch this. And I think it was a good balance there.
Yeah, any twist made sense, because I've watched a lot of shows where they just try to do twists that don't make sense or don't fit. They're just they're to dupe the audience into unexpected results when it doesn't fit.
Yeah. And then pacing, we wanted to talk a little bit about the pacing. So I know
I thought it was slow at times.
it was slow at times. I agree. Like the first episode was kind of slow, but understandably because you're setting up the scene and you're introducing characters and you're kind of getting the background. But there were some spots within the series, some episodes, for sure, some whole episodes that felt really slow compared to everything else. And even at one point, somewhere around halfway, and I know that the show was released as a part one, I think on Christmas Eve, and then a part two a little bit later. And I don't know, because we watched it all in one fell swoop, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that slowdown was where that break was, maybe. But there was a point where I'm watching it and I thought, gosh, this almost feels like a season 2, or it almost feels like a different show, because there was a semi-resolution to some of the plot, and then it became kind of slow as we were getting more character development. So the pacing was a little weird, but and they used a lot of flashbacks
Yeah.
and flash forwards.
That's
even.
how they kind of told character story and,
Yeah.
and how these people know each other when
Yeah,
they act a certain way towards each other. You're like, why?
yeah, but they weren't confusing. Like
Right. They had a relationship and
Yeah.
you're like, where does this come from? And then they reveal the layers that way.
Yeah,
So that was all right. The action scenes are pretty good, I thought. I mean, there was,
Yeah.
and as far as, viscera and bloody body parts and stuff, that was kind of over the top there at parts.
yeah, but it wasn't
Almost.
like I'm the one who goes like this watching movies. I think I only did that once, maybe, or maybe twice. I didn't do that a whole lot in this one, so it wasn't as bad as like I thought it could be with monster movies, which is weird. I like creature movies, not so much monster movies. I don't like slash horror. I like sci-fi horror monster movies, I guess.
Godzilla,
Yeah, I love Godzilla. Well, that's
King Kong.
giant things. Monster movies are a whole other thing that I love. But like this was different, and even the monster had like a story arc, kind of. So it was. I think the pacing could be a little slow for some people, but it wasn't so slow that or at least for me, it wasn't so slow at those parts that I completely lost interest in watching the rest of it. I don't know if you felt the same way or you wanted to stop watching it or
I
not.
got bored at times, but that's only because it's like it went from one style of pace to the other.
Yeah, it was
Maybe
a
I just
little
wasn't expecting
inconsistent.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was inconsistent. Yeah. So overall, what was your overall impression, and would you recommend it to somebody?
Good, and especially if they like those kind of movies, then it would probably be really good. And if they don't mind foreign, and maybe they'll get something different out of it if they watch it without subtitles or with subtitles in its original language.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it lost much.
Yeah. For me, I mean, was it perfect? No. Like I said, the pacing is my biggest gripe with it, some of the pacing, but I also really liked the romance stuff that caused some of the pacing issues. So I wouldn't really want that to go away. So I would recommend it to pretty much anybody. I don't care if they would like it or not, because I thought it was good. It was worth a watch. It made you think about things. It made you have to think about good versus evil, humanity versus, inhumanity, I guess, morality and ethics. It made you kind of think about those things and see them in a perspective.
I mentioned most of that before. It had those subtext.
Yeah. So
with that and with the war and the occupation.
Yeah. So it became very relatable because it was very much a human experience type movie. So, or not movie, TV show. It felt like a movie because we binged it.
The one, I don't know, this is almost a spoiler, but the one thing at the end, I don't know, ninjas. So with ninjas.
Oh, yeah, he was happy.
We got some guys that were probably ninjas. So, they're super competent ninjas that die in mass when fighting something.
It was a pretty fantastic fight scene, too.
They were level 1 ninjas. And that's...
Well, most of them. Yeah. There were probably a few that weren't.
No, because, there's a few that kind of made it through the fight a little bit better and actually were competent. But for the most, they were
Yeah.
mooks.
I do know that it was given a season 2, and I think there have already been some pictures released for the season 2. So I have an idea based on where the series ended, the main storyline, where that might go. But then they had like a flash forward scene at the very, very end too. So it makes me think,
almost think they shouldn't.
What's going on?
I don't think they should have included that.
Yeah, that was the only thing that was kind of confusing.
The let's put a
modern day
after the credit kind of thing scene to kind of like, oh, you know.
And it was clear that it was modern day too. So.
Oh, the flash forward, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I'm saying the other things that kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Some of the reveals that I'm like, you should have just saved that, but maybe that was partially to get people excited.
And there are things that are unknown, like at the end there, that's some things you don't know about. I wonder what happened to this character and this person. Yeah. But they're not like, it could have ended there and it would have been fine, but I'm glad it's getting a season 2. So, yeah. So overall, we both enjoyed it. So if you choose to watch it, let us, or if you did watch it, you can let us know what you thought, but we enjoyed it. And I think that's it for today.
That's all I got.
Bye.
Thank you for watching, and please take a moment to like and sub.